Welcome to This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your local experts on all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Listen in as they discuss the current state of the market, the latest trends, and have a little fun while doing it. We do want to say the opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals. All right, welcome back, y'all, to This Week in Real Estate, where we put the cherry pie in your warranty. I don't know if that's a messy one. Bringing the cherry pie to your warranty.
Warrant did the song Cherry Pie.
Oh, Warrant.
Bless your heart.
Man, that's deep. That's going.
We had to think.
That's going way deep. Yeah.
Should we sing it?
She's my cherry pie.
Totally worth it.
She knew we'd bite.
I mean, how
She
can you
knew
not?
we'd take a bite of that cherry pie.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Lord have mercy on our souls. Well, good morning, everybody. It's Jonathan Harmon with J. Harmon Home Team, powered by Keller Williams, and my good buddy Bryan Nale of Primus Mortgage. What's going on, man?
It's a good day.
It's been a good day.
It's been a good day.
I had a conversation with someone the other day, and there was another Bryan loan officer and you, Bryan loan officer, and then there was another Bryan involved in this conversation as well. It got confusing. It was like, and then Bryan, I mean, the Bryan that I know, well, I know all the Bryans. So anyway, it was terrible.
Throw in a Ryan and it's like,
oh man. Have you seen the video about the Ryan meetup?
Yeah,
oh my gosh, that's the funniest. Have you seen that, Trent?
Yeah.
No,
it's Kyle.
Ryan.
Yeah.
It's Kyle.
No.
There's a
Ryan
okay.
meetup.
Yeah.
Because it says, don't trust a Bryan with a Y.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we need to have a Jonathan meetup up here at the brewery.
There's a lot of John and Jonathans and
a lot of misspellings. A lot of people don't know how to spell their own stupid name.
yeah.
I feel bad for them.
Yeah. Poor souls.
There is one way to spell it, and it's my way.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Let's dive in, man. You got some headlines for us. Speaking of headlines, have you ever done the forehead thing? So I don't have a forehead. A lot of folks have a forehead because their hairline stops here. I actually have like a 16 head because my hairline is back here.
Okay.
Yeah. So headlines, 16. Yeah. She's my cherry pie.
Man. Bryan, can you slide your laptop over just a touch?
Towards Jonathan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Should be perfect.
All right. What you got? Headlines.
Oh, that's my cue. And you're back.
That's you.
Me?
Yeah.
Headlines. Oh,
Yeah,
we're back.
Yeah,
we're back. So there's a mini boom in refi applications happening right now. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but there actually is. And so what's happened is mortgage rates have hit a new 7-week low. And what I think is driving this is people who went under contract 6 months ago, 7 months ago, and locked in their interest rates kind of at those highs when the market was getting close to 8% and actually touched 8% for a couple of days. Those folks now are taking advantage of this new 7-week low and exercising that refi option. I'm not necessarily seeing this myself. I don't have a large volume of refinance applications right now, but that's what's happening according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. So the refinance index jumped by 7% compared to the previous week and was 21% higher than the same week 1 year ago. The refinance share of mortgage activity increased to 34% of total applications from 32% week over week. So it's interesting to watch this. I don't think we're here in the refi boom. I think there's it's like this headline says, it's a mini boom. There's a little bit of a spike of activity. And that's, I think, really driven by the folks that locked in at the highest that are like, okay, let's get out of this now while we still can, because we don't know where rates are going to go. And if there's an opportunity for us to get away from that rate, they're running away from it.
So let me ask you that. I've got all kinds of thoughts on this. So mortgage lenders and real estate agents are almost annoyingly optimistic.
We can be.
So is this a stretch for some good news? It feels like it.
It's a stretch for good news. I'd say it's kind of something interesting to watch. I don't know that it's necessarily good news or bad news. It's good news for those folks who may be able to save $150, $200 a month on their monthly mortgage payment. They're kind of, they're not too deep into it to really be that worried about restarting their amortization schedule. So it's good news for those folks who to get some relief, who maybe bought at the highest rates that we'd seen in a long time.
Well, and so before we started, I asked you a couple questions about this. So this average was at 7.01. The high during that same time frame, 7 week.
That 7 week high
was 7.51. So we got a half a percent drop in rate, and we kind of went through some math, just real basic. This is not an offer of service or any whatever crap that we're supposed to say for him to stay compliant. But if you had a $300,000 loan, 30-year note, between the 7.51 and 7.01, it would save you roughly $100 a month.
That's right.
Right. And to do that, the cost of that is going to be roughly somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000.
I'd err on the side of closer to 5,000 by the time you do the escrow impounds.
And you'll get some of your impounds back. So let's say it's $4,000. Okay, let's shoot the middle. Okay, $4,000. So at $100 savings a month, that's $4,000. Essentially, you gotta have that loan for 40 more months in order to make your money back. And the other piece of that is you also have to bet that it's not going to go even lower a couple months later, or even 18 months later.
That's right.
And then you want to refi again, which compounds that amount of money that you have to recoup in order for this to make sense.
Well, you said it, and it might have gone under the radar for people listening, but you're not betting necessarily how long you're going to own that home. You're betting on how long you're going to have that house, and you might have paid some discount points when you did the purchase to begin with. So, like you could easily find yourself throwing a lot of money, good money after bad, chasing an interest rate. So I encourage anybody who's listening to this and thinking about, hey, if rates are at a 7-week low, should I consider a refinance? Give your loan officer a call and have a conversation with them about what your plans are, what your goals are, what's the drive for the refi? Is it just because you want a lower rate? Well, does it make sense to wait this market out a little bit? There was a little bit of a mini refi boom. I guess it was probably last July, August, or September, somewhere in that time frame. And I remember talking with somebody.
Yeah, because you could buy a rate down into the high fives.
You could. We kind of we hit that low level, and it was really close to making sense for a client of mine who had bought a house recently. But at the end of the day, he decided just to wait. And I think he's still comfortable with that decision because that's since then certainly gotten away from him to make it make sense to do a refi. But I think he's still okay with that call to wait it out because we still think that opportunity will come back around to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think so. A couple of other thoughts on this, and we'll move on. But the people that really it makes sense for is if they adhered to one of your least favorite phrases, which is they married the house and they dated, or they're dating the rate, and they really couldn't like that $100 a month. Forget what it cost them. Right. That $100 a month makes a difference in their comfort level of how they live. That makes sense, right? Potentially, they're not in a great spot. Like that's bad if that's where your budget is.
It really is.
But at the same time, if it is, it is, and so that might make sense. But then the other thing, I think that there is a tendency, and especially on the refi, a lot of times you guys will roll the cash portion of that refi back into the mortgage.
Right.
So it might cost you $3,500, $4,000, $5,000, whatever dollars, and you just dump that on top if there's room in the loan to value.
That's a great point. It's not money that you feel. That $4,000 that we think it might cost you to do the refinance, that's not money that you feel. It's not money that you pull out of your bank account and write a check for, but it is taken out of your equity. It's still real money.
Yeah.
That's added to your loan amount.
And so people tend to sometimes be just completely focused on that payment and not realize that they're just making their shovel bigger.
But maybe they're hearing radio commercials and getting influenced by those because no cost refi. Well, what's the meaning of no cost? Is it, and most of the time what that means is no cost out of pocket. There's still going to be a lender's title insurance policy on every refinance that you do.
No one's going to do it for free because they like you.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just not going to do it.
And they're not going to do it because it makes money if they do it for free either, because it doesn't. So there's just like anything, it's always going to be best to talk with your advisor. And another thing with this is this a blip? It might be a blip. You could have people who have been holding off on a refi, but they need to because of a divorce or some other kind of extenuating circumstance, and so those folks might have been waiting if they had a peaceful split, they could be waiting for a year for an opportunity
That's true.
to refinances. And so the first time they see that they can do it, and at this point, they're like a lot of homeowners, probably just chomping at the bit to just get it done.
Get that monkey off my back.
Just get it done.
Yeah.
I'll take this and let's go.
Yeah. That's a good point. That kind of, it's almost like pent up demand, essentially.
Almost.
What it amounts to.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, that's interesting. It's something definitely to keep an eye on. This is why I love economics, is because it is essentially group psychology with dollar signs, and it's I don't know, it's just fascinating to me because anyway, we can dive, we could spend an entire show on this. So my headline's really simple, and the pace is quickened, y'all. Just like that, we talk about the seasonality. I talked about that last episode, and we're here. So the spring was a little late. The spring selling season was a little late this year. Normally it's somewhere in April. It's hitting now, and it started probably a week ago, 2 weeks ago, somewhere around there. For me, anecdotally, it has absolutely picked up, but I'm seeing it. I've had three multiple offer scenarios in the last 6 days, and then probably, I guess, go back 3 weeks, 5, 6 of them in that, and we didn't win all of them.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Now, what's different about this multiple offer, this high demand, low inventory market, as compared to maybe 2 years ago, is everything is still on the table, right?
Yeah.
So we're still getting some closing costs done. We're still getting FHA loans done. We're still getting THTA. We're still getting some negotiation. It's just everybody's negotiating, which honestly makes it more exciting, perhaps. I don't know. It's not exciting when you lose.
Yeah. What you said just kind of hit a trigger in my mind of a headline I just read, and it's that in the same data period that I was talking about, the refi boom, FHA share of total applications increased from 12.8% from 12.4%, while the VA share grew 1 percentage point to 13.7%. So yes, to your point, you're still seeing FHA having chances to go under contract. That stigma's not there. Maybe it is, but the sellers are taking whatever they can get to a certain extent. But they're getting more of those offers now.
Yeah, it's an interesting time, that's for sure. So, all right, headlines are done. Let's move to everybody's favorite part of the show.
This is real. Oh man, we got you coming in hot.
Coming in hot.
This is called
No way.
Fridge has to stay.
Is this a bad camera angle, or is that for real?
This is very for real.
Fridge has to stay.
This might be my favorite. Special steps.
Is it connected by an extension cord? Does it work?
Oh, that's a great question.
Is the dog concerned for his safety?
Oh, I just saw the dog.
What about the cat over there?
Where's the
Oh yeah, in the corner. Yeah. Also,
That cat's going, man. That dog's
I really
dumb.
love that somebody came out and said, "Hey, you're going to need new rails on this deck for this to pass an appraisal." So let's get some new rails on this deck.
Yes.
Well, here's my question. Okay, from a marketing standpoint. Oh, I didn't see the dog. I see the dog now.
Yeah.
From a marketing perspective, you want to take pictures and put on the MLS to show the house in its best light. So if this is the backyard, why in the what would you post this picture on the MLS?
That's why we have this segment, man.
Is
Because
it
people do stuff like this?
Is it acknowledging, yes, there is a backyard?
There's a fridge holding a deco.
It's fenced in.
I mean, the reality is the fridge, they're sturdy. I mean, it'll work.
I mean, and it's a perfect height. I mean, it's kind of a miracle, actually.
Maybe they designed it for that fridge to be there.
Maybe so.
They were sitting on.
Hey,
Let's build a deck.
They were sitting on the old deck.
That's all we're missing.
They're sitting on the old deck that got torn down, drinking a beer one night, And they were like, dude.
You know what we could do? You
know
see
what
that
we
fridge
could do?
right there? You see that fridge right there?
Pay money and have it hauled off. Or
We could build a deck.
Repurpose, reuse, recycle.
Absolutely.
All right, so I got to tell you guys, you know what else came to mind? And I have no idea where this came from. The Punky Brewster episode where her friend got locked in the fridge.
trauma.
Real.
I don't recall this episode. Was the fridge turned on?
No,
Okay.
it
Outside,
was out in the alley.
Yeah.
holding up a deck somewhere.
They were playing hide and seek, and
Oh, man.
what's the girl's Cherry? Was that her name? She got locked in the
Did
fridge.
she make it out?
She
Spoiler.
passed out, and
She passed out.
Mhm.
Did she get
Probably
out
hot.
alive?
man,
It is Punky Brewster.
that's yes.
Shouts
Anyway.
to Punky.
Life lessons from Punky Brewster.
Don't get in this fridge for several reasons.
For
Well, I
several
know that
reasons.
I'd open the top door for sure.
It's awesome. All
Oh,
right,
that's amazing.
market movers. That poor dog.
Man, that's maybe my favorite
The
today.
dog's going.
All right, back to you.
Back to you. Back to me.
Back to you.
Market movers. All right. So I love your market mover because your market mover is like the anti-market mover.
It's like, let's go on a vacation.
Let's do this. All right, go ahead.
So the headline from one of my notifications last Friday was, this Friday marks the beginning of an 11-day holiday for the mortgage-backed securities market. I mean, not to say that it's going to be closed for that long, but there's just no real data. There's no big reports coming out. Look at the minutes from the Fed meeting today. Nobody expects that to move the needle. So last Friday, was the last big report that came out, and then you had the weekend, and then you got this week with nothing big coming out. Then you got Memorial Day weekend, and they're like, yeah, basically for the next 11 days, it should be pretty chill.
And in headlines today, absolutely nothing's going to happen over the next 11 days.
Now there's some stuff happening in England this morning. Some inflation numbers in England came out.
Who cares?
Who cares is investors who are like, we got to have something to trade on, so they're
Yeah.
going to react to some news from the global market these days.
Yeah, so nothing happens in the U.S. for 11 days, and the Brits over there. Yeah. Okay, well, there you go. British folk have Memorial Day, and then
Do you
nothing
have a
will
market
happen.
mover?
I do have one.
Okay, good.
So my market mover is the antithesis of yours. We're gonna next week. I'm gonna go over some numbers, and I have a feeling that if you listen to that, you're gonna want to. If you're on the fence, it will be your market mover, your specific one, and that is, I think we're gonna see a significant drop in days on market, just all of a sudden. The last time we went over numbers, we were at 22 days on market. I think we're going to see that probably cut in half.
Wow,
It's
bold.
It's just like all of a sudden, it just went bananas. And I think we're going to see that average price go up. I mean, we saw 3% month over month last month, and I think it's going to be even more. It's crazy.
Wow.
So one of the multiple offer deal that on the listing that I have, we are going to be under contract $13,000 above our list price. Actually, we might be right now. I might have that email in my inbox.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're on the fence,
Get
off
Get off of it now.
It is time.
It is time.
All right. Shiny Penny. Is that a
She was the Stone Temple Pilots.
Stone Temple Pilots? Yeah.
Back to you.
Okay.
Shiny penny.
That's me. I'm the pretty penny. Shiny penny. So my shiny penny, Trent actually reminded me of this. Shout out to our friend John Michael Robinson, and it is his 1-year anniversary of being on this show. We love you, John Michael, and he started in real estate in a very difficult time to get started, and super sharp guy, and doing what he can to support his family in this industry. So anyway, 1 year ago today, he was on the show.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Shouts to John Michael.
Fantastic.
And we're coming in for a landing better than the Federal Reserve has, that's for sure. What's our pro tip?
Back to you.
So I think we kind of easy on the shiny penny segment, but we got 2 pro tips for you this afternoon or this morning, depending on when you're watching this. And I'm going to put one on the tee for you. I learned something this week, and that's that when you're negotiating a contract, a lot of times you have a counter and then another counter, and it goes back and forth for a while. It's like a little game of tennis or pickleball. And I always thought that you had to kind of like address each thing and the counters as the counters build. And I found out this week that's not true. So tell us a little bit about that, Jonathan.
Yeah. So counters are just negotiation, back and forth, right? So the only ones that really matter is the last one and the contract. So whatever's on the last counter offer refers back to the contract, and all the counters in between, they're just a documentation of the negotiation. That's all it is. Yeah. So they're not cumulative, in other words. So if it's on counter 1, but it's not on counter 2, then it didn't happen. So make sure, agents that are out there, and hopefully you've been taught this, but also you buyers out there and you sellers know that if you get counter 2 and there was something in counter 1 that should have stayed in the contract and it's not on counter 2, it's not part of the negotiation anymore.
You cannot say that well, this counter said that I was going to get $5,000 in seller credits. I thought that stayed if we just redid the price. No, it doesn't.
Nope. The last counter refers to the contract, and that's it. So the only things that people in your position or title companies are looking at is the last one and the contract.
That's right.
That's it.
That's a great pro tip. And it was a great opportunity for me to kind of learn that, as I hadn't seen that before. And it's just amazing, doing this for almost 7 years and learning the stuff every week.
Well, the reality is for multiple years, you didn't have a whole lot of counter offers back and forth. Yeah. It was rare to have 3, 4, 5 counters.
Yeah.
And now that's absolutely back.
Yeah.
Now I try to trim down the number of counters by kind of negotiating verbally and just doing, maybe counter 2 or whatever once we get to that point. But sometimes you end up with 3, 4, 5, 6 counters.
You can go back and forth. Mm-hmm. And that negotiation is one of the reasons I'm a mortgage loan officer instead of a realtor. Because I just want everybody to be happy, man. So when it comes to negotiating,
not me, I just want to win.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. Oh, it's funny. So I've got, as mentioned, I have a pro tip as well, and that's the headlines always grab our attention. And so when you see a headline like we shared earlier in the show, that the average rate fell from 7.51 to 7.01. Well, that's just the average rate. That's the average interest rate that is put on the books, and it doesn't really. And that includes all loan products, all loan types, includes FHA, conventional. Most of the time, when you're reading that headline, is it a barometer of the movement of the market? Yes. But if your loan on your application is 7.25 and you read that the national average is 7.0, call your lender and have a conversation with them. But don't be surprised when they tell you that number also it does not reflect discount points that people are paying to buy the rate down. Mm-hmm. And it does not include all the different loan types. Like I had a client this past week who was like, hey, should I go FHA? I think FHA has lower rates. And once we went through the PMI and how that works, it was easy for him to see that with his down payment and his PMI rate and his circumstances, conventional, even though the rate was a little higher than the FHA rate, was still the right product for him.
I think that's the most important thing is people get zoned in on a single component of any financial transaction, right, whatever it happens to be. And the rate, yes, it is absolutely important. But then we can start getting into like the difference in APR versus APY. Yeah. And, you get into some of those kinds of things, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, this got way more complicated.
Yeah, it is.
And just simply shopping rate, you really should shop for service.
You should. And I saw, it reminds me of a great meme, and we should put it on the show sometime. And it's like, it's the thing where I think it was, it's Kanye West. Or whatever his name is, Yeezy or whatever. He's talking, and somebody asked him a
Bless
question.
His heart.
And the question is like, hey, can you explain the APR to me? And he's like, what you have asked me is a complicated question, so I'm going to use time on my side. and that was kind of a popular reel that was going around. It was just kind of funny because he just completely stones out. And was like, I'm not going to answer that question
because most people can't.
Yeah, right.
That's the reality.
But so like if you rate like the headline, this is from Mortgage Bankers Association, and the app that I'm using is Mortgage News Daily to give this information to me. But the it says that the 7 basis point drop in the average contract interest rate for conforming 30-year fixed rate mortgage was accompanied by a decline in points from 0.63 to 0.60. So what that means is that, yes, there's the 7 basis point drop in contract and interest rate for conforming 30-year fixed rate mortgages, but that basis point drop, it included that much in discount points, and that the number of discount points dropped 3 basis points from 0.63 to 0.60.
So the rate went down.
So things are getting better,
and the points went down.
but but those points are still very much there. And then with FHA,
6 is a lot.
that's right. So with FHA, the FHA backed 30-year fixed rate mortgage had an average rate of 6.77, down from 6.86%. Points average 0.88 compared to 0.94 the week before. So yes, things are still moving in the right direction. But it's pretty clear to see when you really dive into these numbers that whatever the headline rate is, that doesn't mean that if you're over that headline rate that you're not getting a good deal for your circumstances.
And the other thing, let's tie this all the way back to the beginning, is that when you see that the average rate dropped, even if you can get what that average rate is, you need to look further into it, because not only are you paying the closing cost and the updated title policy and all of that stuff, but you're also going to have to pay those points to get it.
Right.
So that $3,000 to $5,000 that we're talking about might end up being more like $4,000 to $8,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so now, if I'm looking at saving $100 and it cost me $7,000, a 70-month recapture?
No way.
Absolutely not.
Gonna do that.
Not worth
I'm not
it.
going to recommend any of my clients to do that.
No, because there's no way I can look at 60 months, at 5 years, and be like, yeah, this is definitely what's going to happen. Yeah. Well, there's no way I can look at 70 months. You know what I mean?
It's pretty out there.
Yeah. So, all right, good stuff, man. I guess that's it. We got anything going on that we need to talk about for the week? It's Memorial Day weekend.
Last day of school.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
it is.
Right.
In Rutherford County.
Right. Though, I mean, like, they have to go on Friday for 2 hours and sit in the gym
I'm
for a
not
couple
sending
hours.
my kids for 2 hours. You kidding?
If your kid has perfect attendance and that's important to them, then you're sending your kid.
My kid doesn't, so
My
no.
kids do not either.
No, not gonna happen. So really you perfect attendance kids are gonna be very lonely.
That's funny.
Hope you enjoy your little certificate.
12 kids in the class.
That's right. In the whole school.
In the whole school, in the gym,
Yeah.
just playing volleyball.
Right. Yeah.
Classic.
Anyway, I do want to throw out there, we've got International Folk Fest coming to Cedar Glade on June the 7th. Very excited about that. Still could have a little bit of room for some sponsors on that. If you're interested in sponsoring, I don't even care what level it is at this point. We need a little bit more to support those international folks and make them feel welcome here at Cedar Glade. And other than that, we've got a really cool beer release June 14th. Very excited about that. And anything else that we got going on that we need to talk about? Grady's birthday, June 2nd.
Everybody's favorite.
That's
Yeah.
I know what else. June 1st at Cedar Glade. We got a big day of music. We've got Josie Edwards is playing at 4:30. She was one of the 2 winners of the songwriter contest that we had.
Yeah.
nice.
And at 7, I'm super pumped. Missy made fun of me because I fanboyed a little bit. Bradford Loomis is going to be playing our tap room. And you may not know who Bradford Loomis is, but you should go look him up. He is awesome. He is a hell of a singer-songwriter, first of all, and great performer. But he also, if you've watched the show We're Here on HBO, he was one of the folks that was involved in that show, and he wrote a song, and it was in the show. And man, dude, like, I'm getting chilled. Look, all the hairs on my arm are standing up right now. Incredible, and we're just so pumped to have him come in at 7:00. It's very uplifting music, and he's just awesome. So,
June 1st.
June 1st, you need to be here.
That's awesome.
Nice. Can we plug the Fourth Friday thing we're gonna start?
Yes, absolutely. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so shout out to my good friend Jessica Bryan, networking champion, financial guru, advisor person. She's just a Great human being. We've been kicking around some ideas for a networking thing. I know there's not enough of those, but
God knows we need some
yeah,
more.
we need some more of them. But this one's in line with the STP network. Just more kick back and enjoy each other's time. Learn about maybe have a featured speaker for a few minutes, and then just really connect before some live music at Cedar Glade. So. Fourth Fridays is the title. We had the little tagline. If you're not going to be working, you might as well network. So, so Fourth Friday at Cedar Glade, 5 to 7. Shout out to Jessica for kind of pushing me to do that, and it's gonna be fun. Live music obviously starts every Friday at Cedar Glade, 7 to 9. So. Stick around for some good music, get some good connections, vibe out. Have a good time, drink some Cedar Glade beer, all the things we know to do.
That's it. Love it.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited about that. All right, that's it. Missy, you got any events coming up that we need to talk about? She says no. Yep.
Folk Fest.
Okay.
Folk Fest is going to be awesome.
Folk Fest is going to be fun. I'll roll this out officially next week, but we've got an advertising opportunity in the brewery as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's
going to be
cool. Talk to you guys about.
That's going to be cool.
But hold on to that. We'll talk next week.
Cliffhanger. All right. We outie.
See ya. I got to get the TV hung up first.
Thank you for listening to another episode of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your go-to resource for all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We will see y'all on the next one.
Now for the nitty-gritty. Premise Mortgage Company is a subsidiary of Premise Bank, a member FDIC. Premise Mortgage NMLS number 1894879, BK number 1042893, ML number 1894879. As always, all loans are subject to credit approval and product guidelines. Equal housing lender.